This evening, first, tragedy on the Demerara River Bridge. One man is dead after a cement-laden truck reportedly lost control and slammed into oncoming traffic. Plus, a deadly Corentyne road case takes a dramatic turn, ending in a multi-million-dollar settlement and a dismissed charge. Also, contractors in Region 6 are on notice as government issues a final ultimatum on unfinished roads. Meanwhile, police uncovered drugs hidden in an unlikely place inside mac and cheese boxes in Lethem. And internationally, a stunning claim in Washington as the U.S. defends the abduction of Venezuela's leader. Those stories and more coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for January 29, 2026. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, a 25-year-old man has died and several others have been injured following a serious traffic accident this morning on the Demerara River Bridge. Traffic Chief Mahendra Singh confirmed that the incident involved a cement-laden truck that rolled down an incline and collided with oncoming traffic. According to the truck driver, mechanical failure led to the accident. He explained that the vehicle experienced gearbox issues while ascending the bridge, and the situation escalated when the brakes failed, causing the truck to roll backwards onto oncoming traffic. The driver noted that the steering became stiff, making it impossible to avoid the collision despite his efforts to control the vehicle. Eyewitnesses reported that the truck initially struck a minibus before damaging multiple vehicles. The deceased has been identified as Scott Dorwat of Grove, East Bank, Demerara. One person is reportedly in critical condition, while 6 vehicles sustained significant damage. Emergency responders and police rushed to the scene, assisting the injured and managing the disruption on the bridge traffic. Investigations into the exact cause of the mechanical failure and the sequence of events are ongoing. Traffic Chief Mahendra Singh has urged motorists to exercise caution when crossing the bridge, particularly on inclines, and stressed the importance of vehicle maintenance to prevent similar accidents. Authorities have indicated that further updates will be provided as the investigation continues. In other news, in a dramatic turn of events, the court case over the shocking death of a Corentyne woman has been formally dismissed following a $4.4 million settlement between her family and the lorry driver involved. The court case surrounding the tragic death of 65-year-old Donna Punch of Alnis Village, Corentyne, Berbice, has been officially discontinued following the settlement between her family and the driver involved. Donna Punch died on October 5, 2025, after both rear wheels of a lorry driven by 35-year-old Devindranath Siram detached and struck her while she and her husband, Pastor Leroy Punch, were waiting by the roadside to attend church. She was rushed to the Port Moran Public Hospital but was pronounced dead on arrival. Siram was arrested and charged with causing death by dangerous driving, but pleaded not guilty. During recent proceedings at the Wim Magistrates Court, Siram, unrepresented by legal counsel, informed the court that he had reached a settlement with the Punch family. Pastor Punch confirmed the agreement under oath. Following verification of the settlement, Magistrate Tawana Hardy formally discontinued the case, dismissing the charge. While nothing can undo the tragic loss of Donna Punch, the resolution ensures that the matter has been formally concluded, allowing the family to focus on healing. Authorities continue to stress the importance of road safety and vehicle maintenance to prevent similar incidents, reinforcing that accountability and vigilance remain critical in protecting citizens on Gatna's roads. Moving on, Minister of Public Works Bishop One Edgehill has issued a strong warning to contractors with unfinished projects in Region 6, cautioning that contracts will be terminated if works are not completed within the newly established deadlines. The warning was delivered during an engagement with contractors and engineers responsible for several community concrete road projects, with particular focus on the Blackbush Boulder project. Minister Edgehill stated that residents have endured prolonged delays and emphasized that all outstanding projects in the area must be completed within the next 2 weeks. He outlined strict timelines, noting that some contractors have only a matter of days to finish their work. Failures to meet these deadlines, he warned, will result in underperforming contractors being replaced by more efficient ones to ensure project completion. The minister emphasized that delays are placing an unfair burden on residents and called for accelerated works on access roads and bridge alignments. He made it clear that the government will no longer tolerate disruptions to communities caused by unfinished infrastructure projects. Reaffirming the administration's commitment to development in Berbice, Minister Edgehill said Region 6 remains a priority under the government's infrastructure agenda. He underscored that accountability and timely execution are critical to meaningful development as the government moves decisively to ensure residents benefit from improved roads, better connectivity, and prompt delivery of promised projects. Stick around when we return. Police uncover cannabis hidden in mac and cheese boxes in Lethem, and Georgetown City Council and Labor Union sign landmark collective agreement.
Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common Smalls make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services. 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Welcome back. In a striking and unusual bust, police in Regional Division 9 uncovered suspected cannabis cleverly concealed inside macaroni and cheese boxes, intercepting a 30-year-old housewife transporting the illicit substance on an electric bike at Tabatinga, Lethem. The suspect was riding an electric bike carrying a cardboard box when officers conducted the search. Inside, they found several mac and cheese containers holding transparent plastic parcels containing leaves, seeds, and stems suspected to be cannabis. The total weight of the seized substance was 459 grams, recorded in the suspect's presence before being lodged. The woman was immediately arrested and escorted to the Lethem police station, where she remains in custody as investigations continue. Police have noted that the seizure highlights the increasingly creative methods traffickers are using to smuggle narcotics in the region. Authorities in Regional Division 9 continue to urge residents to report suspicious activities, stressing the proactive enforcement and community vigilance are essential in combating the illegal drug trade. The investigation into the origins and intent destination of the seized cannabis is ongoing. The suspect remains in custody as investigations continue. The incident highlights both the ingenuity of traffickers and the commitment of law enforcement to keep communities safe and uphold the rule of law in Guyana. An intelligence-led operation by the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit in Tabatinga, Lethem on Tuesday led to the seizure of large quantities of narcotics, uncustomed liquor, stolen motorcycles, and local and foreign currency, resulting in the arrest of 2 local residents. Officers acting on intelligence discovered Ziploc bags containing suspected cannabis in a bush opposite the premises of Marlon Jarvis. During questioning, a man identifying himself as Alim Cartel provided information that prompted a search of Jarvis' property. After obtaining a court-approved search warrant, Kanu, with support from the Ghana Fire Service, searched the 2-story building and a concrete shop. They found cannabis packaged in Ziploc bags, digital scales, uncustomed liquor, 65 grams of ecstasy, yellow metal, and multiple currencies totaling over $2 million. 4 motorcycles, later confirmed to have been stolen in Brazil, were also recovered. Jarvis was arrested upon arrival at the property. Cartel was also detained. Kanu confirmed that the operation was recorded with body cameras and reaffirmed its commitment to disrupting narcotics trafficking and related criminal activities through intelligence-led operations and collaboration with local and international law enforcement. Moving on, the Ministry of Labor and Manpower Planning has facilitated the signing of a collective labor agreement between the mayor and councillors of the city of Georgetown and the Ghana Labor Union, marking a major step in strengthening labor relations and improving municipal workers' welfare. After years of stalled negotiations, the ministry intervened through a formal conciliation process, leading to a breakthrough agreement within 1 week. The Memorandum of Agreement, covering January 1st, 2026 to December 31st, 2027, outlines improved wages, salaries, and working conditions for fixed and unfixed staff. Key provisions, including a standard 40-hour work week, clearly defined working hours, minimum wage parity with the wider public sector, and provisions for union negotiated rates based on job requirements. The signing was conducted by the Mayor and Town Council on behalf of the Mayor and City Council and by Ghana Labor Union General Secretary Calvin Duncan with the Union Branch's chairman. The ministry was represented by Mr. Bazio, who oversaw the process. The agreement aligns with Ghana's Decent Work Country Program 2025-2030 and Budget 2026 priorities, reinforcing fair labor practices, collective bargaining, and improved employment conditions. The ministry pledges ongoing support for smooth implementation and continued industrial harmony. Don't go away after the break. U.S. Federal Reserve holds interest rates steady despite political pressure, and Indonesia landslide survivors recall terror as heavy rain hampers rescue efforts.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Gittins. Tonight, a passenger plane crashes in northern Colombia, killing all 15 on board. The U.S. defends its abduction of Venezuelan's leader before Congress. The Federal Reserve holds interest rates steady, and rescuers search for dozens missing after a deadly landslide in Indonesia. We begin in Colombia. A passenger plane crashed in northern Colombia, killing all 15 people on board, authorities confirmed. The aircraft went down in mountainous terrain near Ocana after losing contact shortly before landing. Search teams, backed by the military, have recovered several bodies as investigations continue. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has defended the United States' abduction of Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro before a Senate committee, arguing the operation did not constitute an act of war while framing the attack as a strategic necessity. Al Jazeera's chief U.S. correspondent, Alan Fisher, reports.
From the chairman of the Senate committee, praise for the operation that removed Maduro.
President Trump's actions against narco-terrorists and his capture of Maduro have made America safer. Every American should be thanking Donald Trump and Marco Rubio for what they have done.
The early morning military operation in Venezuela at the turn of the year led to the arrest of Maduro and his wife. A law enforcement operation, insisted the Secretary of State, but he admitted it removed a leader with links to America's adversaries.
It was an enormous strategic risk for the United States, not halfway around the world, not in another continent, but in the hemisphere in which we all live. And it was having dramatic impacts on us, but also on Colombia and on the Caribbean basin and all sorts of other places. It was an untenable situation and it had to be addressed. and it was addressed.
Senator Paul.
One Republican, though, was concerned the operation was clearly an act of war.
I'm probably the most anti-war person in the Senate, and I would vote to declare war if someone invaded our country and took our president.
Many Democrats expressed their concern that the White House had not kept the Senate in the loop, and also that the Trump administration had misled senators by insisting in the weeks before there was no military operation planned against Nicolas Maduro. Rubio told senators he wants a prosperous Venezuela and says early discussions with the new government had been strong and respectful. But while he said the US wasn't about to launch fresh military operations, he didn't rule it out.
Look, the president never rules out his options as commander-in-chief to protect the national interest of the United States.
President Donald Trump has said several times he's running Venezuela. Rubio insists the plan is for free and fair elections without providing a timetable. He insists the country is in a better place now than it was 3 weeks ago. And that has made America safer too.
The meeting is adjourned.
Alan Fisher, Al Jazeera, on Capitol Hill.
The U.S. Federal Reserve has held interest rates steady as expected after 3 consecutive cuts last year. But Chairman Jerome Powell avoided questions about his claims that President Trump is putting pressure on him to cut rates. Al Jazeera's Shiab Ritansi reports.
No surprises at the U.S. Federal Reserve. It held interest rates steady as it continues to monitor both a weak labour market and high inflation, the effects of last year's rate cuts, and the effect of Donald Trump's tariffs.
We are well positioned to determine the extent and timing of additional adjustments to our policy rate based on the incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks.
The Fed taking a wait-and-see approach had been expected. So the focus is also on what the Fed's chairman, Jerome Powell, would say, following his claim that he was being threatened with prosecution by the Department of Justice because he wasn't lowering interest rates as quickly as Trump desired.
The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president.
Powell claimed that the construction here at the Federal Reserve headquarters in Washington, D.C. was being used as a pretext to force his hand to lower interest rates. The renovations have been underway since 2022, but in that time, the cost has spiraled from $1.9 billion to $2.5 billion. By law, the president can only fire the chairman of the Federal Reserve for cause, and Donald Trump has seized on the cost overrun of the renovations.
I'd be honest, I'd love to fire his ass. He should be fired. Guy's grossly incompetent. And he should be sued for spending $4 billion to build a little building.
However, the president's comments threatening the independence of the Federal Reserve spooked the financial markets, and Trump has since said he expects Powell to step down as scheduled in May, and that he had no knowledge of the threat of a criminal indictment from his Department of Justice. On Wednesday, Powell refused to be drawn on his allegations despite repeated questions.
I'm simply going to refer you to the statement that I made on January 11. I'm not going to expand on it or repeat it.
For weeks now, it's been reported that Trump will announce his choice for Powell's replacement imminently. However, the president has indicated he is aware of the difficulty of choosing a new Fed chair who will advocate for large rate cuts while also retaining the confidence of the financial markets. In addition, in recent weeks, the value of the dollar has plunged in part as a result of Donald Trump's policies, stoking fears of even higher inflation that may make an interest rate cut even less likely. Shiab Ritansi, Al Jazeera, Washington.
Rescue teams in Indonesia are still searching for dozens of people unaccounted for after a landslide in West Java province. Many of the missing are believed to be buried under tons of mud and debris. Al Jazeera's Paul Jin reports.
After Saturday's landslide, the laborious search for victims goes on. But efforts have been interrupted by the difficult and unsafe conditions. Ainur Halimah has returned to what's left of her village. She recalls how she and her family had to run to escape the oncoming rush of earth and mud.
We all went outside. After we got out of the house, I heard a rumbling sound. The sound was coming from above. Then I heard my neighbors shouting, "Run, run, there's a landslide." I heard the sound of rocks falling and water rushing. How I feel now is that this is a nightmare. I usually see things like this on television. I'm still in denial, still traumatized. It's like a dream.
Hundreds of people have been evacuated and taken to shelters. Eno managed to escape the landslide, but many members of her family weren't so fortunate.
In total, 17 people from my family were victims. One's being treated in a hospital in Bandung. As for the others, some are still missing and 4 have been found dead. I hope the bodies of my family members will be found soon. I am exhausted from seeing bodies being brought in for identification.
Officials say there'll be no let-up in the search.
Since the incident, we've declared a state of emergency for 14 days. Hopefully the evacuation process can be completed within that period. However, the search operation timeframe can be adjusted as needed. We will decide later how long it'll continue.
Authorities are warning that with rain continuing, further landslides could be triggered, further hampering the recovery operation. Paul Ging, Al Jazeera.
Thanks, Dominic. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's it, TV2 Headline News for this Thursday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.